initially wanted to ask around team youth if there's been any changes since the last game, anything you need to be aware of?
Kate McCabe returns to the squad after her suspension. Apart from that, nothing.
Lovely. In reflection on the last game against West Ham, obviously a surprise result in defeat. What's your reaction been, I guess, since the game and trying to move on from that?
I mean, we have to look forward. We have to acknowledge what things we need to do better, what things we need to continue doing. Of course, we're very frustrated with the result. It doesn't entirely mirror the performance in that game, but we need to take ownership of all parts in that performance that can help us get better results, and there is plenty of things there still that we can improve and do better on, so that's what we need to put our focus to.
Lovely. And now looking ahead to this game against Londonسي Lionesses, you've got a few familiar faces that have obviously been at Arsenal before that you're going to be coming up against. What can you expect from a side that I guess have taken the championship so well?
Experience side, lots of WSL experience and international experience in the squad, both from the players and the manager. So that we of course expect. So as always, a competitive game, and we need to be on our best day to get the result we want.
Lovely. Thank you, Ursula.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vidimo. We'll come back into the room now with Jamie, then we'll come back to the call.
Hi Yunus, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Very good. I just wanted to ask about Emily Fox. I thought, despite the result on Sunday, she was played really well. Seems like she's slid into the squad without fault, and she's got that WSL Player of the Month nomination. How have you found, just to comment on how you found her coming in, integrating so quickly?
Like I said before, I think that has been a very, very good integration process. I think she has been phenomenal. I think the staff and players around has also been phenomenal in helping her and doing so. Yeah, we're happy to have her here for a little short while more until she probably goes for the Gold Cup.
And just one more from me. Obviously, playing Londonسي tomorrow, there is a high chance you might face a low block. They might sit off a little bit. Similar to what West Ham did on Sunday. Is there anything you're looking at to reflect from that Sunday performance to bring into Londonسي?
Yeah, like I said, it's even if I think we create enough chances to win the game against West Ham, and easy thing would say to be more efficient with the chances. I also think there are things in how we positioned and how we use the whole field in order to make it difficult for them to defend in a low block that we can definitely improve on, and we need to do that. So yeah, we learn from every game, winning or losing, and there was some crucial learning points from the West Ham game that we need to put into action. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks, Jamie. Tim, on the call, we'll come to you now.
Yeah, sure. Hi, Jonas. I just wondered, first off, in the group stages, you kind of rotated the lineup and gave players opportunities who perhaps have been on the bench in the WSL. Obviously, we're in the knockout stage now, but I wondered whether, obviously I'm not going to ask you to name your starting 11, but whether you'd continue mixing up the lineup for this game.
I think we have a competitive squad, so I'm not seeing that we have two lineups, one for the league and one for example, the County Cup. Like we need to have competition in the squad. I think we saw that at the weekend as well, where players coming up from the bench doing very well. So the competition needs to be alive in the squad, and we will need all our players at stages during our season to step up and step in for the team. So I'm gonna name as strong as team possible tomorrow, and then what that is, it's for me to decide.
Fair enough. And sorry, I'm going to ask you another question about low defensive blocks, which I'm sure you'll be thrilled to hear. I'm sure you watched the West Ham game back. I watched it back, and I guess, and obviously that has been a theme in the first half of the season. And I felt like I saw in this game, and I've seen it a few times, perhaps scenarios where Arsenal had an opportunity for perhaps a high risk but potentially high reward pass that wasn't taken, where there was perhaps a little bit of conservatism, making a moderate value pass instead. I wonder how much you weight this issue in terms of it being tactical, structural, or just having that kind of mental, I'm going to try that pass in behind, because if it comes off, we're in a really good situation here, and how you approach that with the players.
Yeah, it's I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign, Tim, when you and me have the same idea after we see a game. I don't know if it's you becoming a football coach or me becoming a journalist in the process with spending so much time here at press conferences. But I totally agree with you on that. I think we try too few high risk, high reward passes in the game. There's always a balance in that, in being like, how much of a direct opportunistic team do you want to be? How much of a control are you looking for? I think there was a handful of situations both in the first and the second half where I say I think we should go for that pass in there, and we're opt doing safer passes. And I think we have too much quality on our players both on the ball and off the ball. And so we should be able to look for those situations and look for them with determination. And in those situations, we're so well balanced as well. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't come off all the time, because that actually can just create another good counter-pressing opportunity, for example. So for me, that's one of the major findings from the game. Another one, when I spoke about that, I think this is very basic for it, but we play without width too many times in the West Ham game. And we've been quite good with our structure in the last game. That was really a step back for us from a positional perspective, the West Ham game. And we didn't figure out which players that needed to provide width in the different phases of the game. But of course we're gonna learn from, but that's sometimes how football is. Things have been looking good, and then you take a step backwards. But that's such a fundamental part when you're trying to break down a low block to provide width, to be able to stretch their defending line and to ask them which spaces to defend. And I think our positioning made that a little bit too easy for West Ham on the Sunday, and our decision making on the ball, not trying to play passes forward a little bit more often, also made it too easy and convenient.
Thanks, Jonas. Speak tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Tom?
Good morning, Yonus. Nice to speak to you. Just wanted to ask about these two cup games coming up in the broader sense of your season, because after the West Ham game, I know there's a very long way to go, but theoretically you could win every game you've got left in the WSL and still not win the title. So I suppose with that in mind, does that maybe make these two cup games coming up sort of extra important for the club, to kind of keep things that are in your hands, keeping the hunt for those trophies?
I don't think like that. It's like, no, I don't think with that mindset at all. I have a very easy mindset as a coach, and that is I prepare the team as good as possible for the next game that we're gonna play, and we're gonna do our very best to win that football game. And that's in essence always what you can control, and that's where we need to put our focus. So these games here, they have the same importance, and all three competitions we want to do as well as possible. And not only that, we need to see things on both short term and long term from that lens, and being to present as good of a version of yourself as a team every day in training and when we play games is the only way to develop. If you're not doing a 100, you're not going to develop. And that's why it's so important to strive for that always. So for us, every time we go out and play a game, it's the most important game that we ever played, because it's the next one. And that's the mindset for both these two games.
Thank you. And please may I also ask if there's any update on Laura Wienreuter and her sort of recovery? Can you tell us where she's at and maybe just how it's going?
Progressing. She has started to join very early bits of team training as of this week. So that's very pleasing, and means that she obviously from there on will keep on taking stages. But that obviously also means that there is no way she's going to return to play on this side of the international window. And after that, we probably can give a more accurate update of where she's at.
Thank you. And I suppose a similar-ish question. Leah making her first start a few days ago. I don't know. I gathered from one of your other interviews it was planned that she would always do the first half. How has she maybe recovered from those 45 minutes? And do you feel she's ready for a few more minutes in the coming games?
She has recovered well from the game, which was pleasing. I thought her performance was good. It was really nice to see her back playing in the WSL again. And now we need to see how she trains. And then it's team decisions on who's going to start tomorrow. And then we recover, and then we train again, and then we see against Manchester City. And that's way too early to say something about. But so far, so good.